To start off extremely briefly, Star Wars Outlaws is a good game. Star Wars Outlaws is a great game. And for those too long didn't read individuals, I will put it to you in a way that makes sense and is easily digestible. If you like the Tomb Raider remake games released most recently, then you will like Star Wars Outlaws, because Star Wars Outlaws plays in a similar fashion to those games, but is even better than those games. And if you like the Uncharted series, then you should like Star Wars Outlaws, because Uncharted is better than Star Wars Outlaws, but not by an extremely significant amount. I say all that to put a quick, easy, and neat bow on it. But to go even further, I want to show you and explain to you at length exactly why Star Wars Outlaws is a great game and exactly why it deserves more credit and it deserves your playtime. I am no stranger to criticism. I am no stranger to discussing things that I like in a negative fashion. If you've looked in my channel and if you know anything about me, I love Spider-Man as a comic book character, but I have released a full-length movie version of a video criticizing Spider-Man Homecoming, because when something is bad to me, I will be honest and say it's bad, and Star Wars Outlaws is not that. This is a really good game. There is so much love and passion put into this game. You can tell when you play this game that the developers took the time to think about every single aspect and provide a tight, neat, clean, enjoyable experience set in the Star Wars universe. A lot of the times, a developer or a dev team will receive the IP rights to a very popular and easily franchisable IP, and instead of treating that with reverence and love, they throw out some kind of slapstick bullshit video game, i.e. Gotham Knights or the most recent Suicide Squad game, and they don't really put that much thought into it. They sort of put out a mediocre video game with the costume of the IP around it. That's not what Star Wars Outlaws is. Star Wars Outlaws really takes the time to delve into the universe and make you feel like you're playing a Star Wars game. They truly give you the Star Wars experience. From the very beginning, even the camera is designed to give you that traditional Star Wars experience. It literally starts set in cinematic display mode. A lot of people don't fancy this because it does change your field of view, and at first I didn't as well, but I left it on as a feature because I understood that if this was the initial feature that the developers had on as a default, then to change it would be drastically affecting my experience and drastically affecting the experience that the developer was trying to present to you. It's like changing the soundtrack of a movie. Yes, you might put in music that you like more, but it fundamentally changes how it is experienced. So first, let's talk about the game itself. Star Wars Outlaws delivers what fans of both Star Wars and open world games have been craving for years. You step into the shoes of Kves, an outlaw navigating the underworld of the galaxy, balancing moral choices and interacting with rich, dynamic environments. From space combat to on-foot missions, this game gives you the freedom to explore and make decisions that shape your story. Now, not every single decision is extremely impactful in the way that it alters the world state or completely changes the ending. There is a true ending that you get to, but there are decisions here and there that change different aspects about how you interact with certain factions in the world and how their stories wrap up.
Thanks, but I'm smart enough to get myself out of trouble.
You pay the tax just like everyone else.
Whoa, kid, let's just relax.
You won't make it off to Shara alive.
Maybe.
The beautiful thing about the game is the fact that the galaxy feels alive. The level of immersion from the bustling cities of the Outer Rim to the dangerous frontier worlds really stands out. So Ubisoft and the team have done an amazing job creating a game that feels authentically Star Wars. As you travel around on your speeder, you will consistently see stormtroopers driving around, different miscellaneous NPCs driving around, and as you travel through the cities, there are a plethora of characters just constantly walking around, and this never affects the frame rate, and this never affects the quality of the game or the scene. It really makes the world feel lived in. It really makes everything feel more alive and not so nuded and clean. The space combat itself is particularly exhilarating. So imagine flying through asteroid fields, dodging TIE fighters, or engaging in dogfights with bounty hunters, all while making tactical decisions in real time. So it's not just fly and shoot, there's strategy, planning, and choices about how you approach these encounters. And of course, with your ship, there are different upgrades that you can unlock by doing different missions or working with different mentors, as it were, throughout the game that provide you different gameplay opportunities. And I really love every single aspect of space travel. The controls for when you're flying your ship are super responsive and comfortable, and I must say, even better than a lot of other games with space-based travel. A game that I personally love as well, Starfield, could do to take a lot of notes from how Star Wars Outlaws handles space travel, from landing to leaving atmosphere to just going to different planetary systems. The entirety of it is amazing, and it's so good that I want to go through it step by step and show you exactly how cool it is. To start, you as Kves enter the cockpit of your ship at whatever landing zone that you are at before initiating the takeoff sequence.
Hi, ND5. Time to move, ND5.
Auxiliary engines online.
And then you have a small cutscene that takes place as you're flying through the clouds of the planet to enter the atmosphere and then to enter space proper. Of course, a lot of people loved this aspect. The fact that there is no true loading screen and the fact that they hide the load by having you fly through the atmosphere and the clouds, it's fantastic. While other people were quick to complain and say, oh well, it's not all that cool, they have to hide the loading screen and that's how they're doing it. And my question for them is, yeah, they have to hide the loading screen. Obviously, what would you have wanted to happen? Would you have wanted them to just put up a loading screen so you can be mad about that? At least they thought it through and had a creative alternative where it feels a lot more immersive. A similar sequence takes place when you're landing on a planet. You can fly towards a planet, and once you get within a certain range, a prompt will come up for you to initiate a land. And then from there, you can immediately select from the list of landing options. And it goes through that same sequence where it hides the load and lands in said location. And it's all beautiful. But going back to space, the other thing that's really cool is the jumping to different star systems to go to other planets to do missions or whatever you may be doing. Once you're in space, you can leap to another star system, and even that isn't handled by just a basic loading screen with a bunch of tips while you wait. You initiate the entire thing, and it's really, really fun the way they have you push forward both analog sticks to jump into hyperspace, because it really simulates that kind of pushing forward the spaceship console that often happens in the movies. And while you're in hyperspace, a lot of the time you'll have conversations that take place between K-Vess and her robot ally MD5 about just random things, or perhaps a mission that you recently went on, and it's all really, really fun. So moving to the gunplay of Star Wars Outlaws is really, really, really basic. And that isn't to say it's basic in a bad way. It's basic in the way a ham sandwich is basic. Sure, it's not the most interesting, spectacular thing in the world, but it's serviceable and it works. And it's not horrendous. As K-Vess, you're just an outlaw, so you don't have the traditional Star Wars lightsaber or a cadre of different weapons like a bounty hunter would have. You have your trusty, handy-dandy blaster. But the cool thing about the blaster is it has different firing modes and different options within it that are all unlockable by interacting with all of the different characters that you meet across the universe. When you meet these characters, there are different gameplay aspects that you can unlock that alter your experience and make you a better outlaw. You can get better stealth, you can get better at your sort of Red Dead Redemption Deadeye, shoot multiple enemies in slow motion mode. You can upgrade your blaster to have more of a machine gun type aspect, to have better stun capabilities, to be basically a mini rocket launcher. There are so many different things you can do with that, as well as a bunch of different upgrades you have for your speeder that you'll use for a lot of planetary travel, which is also really, really fun and really, really cool to use. But like I was saying, the gunplay is serviceable. It's perfectly fine. It does the job. Outside of the gunplay, you have the story. The story has a lot of interesting beats and really, really picks up in the final act, but I don't think that it's as mediocre as people are saying. Sure, it's not going to be winning Game of the Year for story, but the story has a lot to love, and including the fantastic voice acting from Humberly Gonzalez, who plays K-Vess, and ND5's actor, Jay Rincon, there is a lot to love. You also get to interact with a lot of fan favorite characters in the Star Wars universe, and a lot of even the side missions have fun branching paths that you would not expect from just a random mission you basically pick up on a bounty board. But I have done a lot of glazing up until this point. Let's talk about the negatives. Why has Star Wars Outlaws earned so much ire from the gaming community and a bunch of content creators? And I promise you, my glazing doesn't stop here. Much of the criticism surrounding Star Wars Outlaws can be traced to two things: misinformation and nitpicking. Some of the loudest voices have focused on minor technical issues like bugs or glitches in the game, things that are common in massive open world titles, especially at launch. These issues are being blown way out of proportion. Bugs are present in nearly every large-scale game at launch, and Ubisoft has been working actively to patch and address any problems. The backlash over these minor issues is largely exaggerated, and it takes away from the fantastic experience the game offers. We have to be honest with ourselves. What large AAA game launches perfectly with no bugs? This thing hasn't had any game-breaking bugs. Of course, there have been a lot of silly bugs here and there, maybe stuff with facial animation, character models sliding around, the normal stuff that you see happen. But it's not being removed from the PlayStation Store like Cyberpunk 2077 was. Overall, I feel like this game was unfortunately beat down by a lot of people who were already going to hate this game no matter what. If you think about it, this game being published by Ubisoft, unfortunately, had a lot of people immediately write this game off as a bad game. They also were mad about the fact that there were more expensive Ultimate Editions of the game available. And really and truly, what do you want to be done about that? Now, I'm not saying that games should always be expensive and you just have to bite the bullet on that. I believe games should be priced fairly for the consumer, because I believe gaming should be a hobby for everyone and not just people who are more financially fortunate. But if a company releases editions of a game that have additional content or additional external goodies or things like that for an additional premium cost, then is it that bad, really? The one thing I will say I understand people's criticisms and skepticism about was the additional missions that you got for pre-ordering the game or getting the gold edition of the game. Sure, I don't want people to be left out of content as well for not being able to afford or just not wanting to purchase a more expensive version of the game. Absolutely, perfectly fair. I understand that. But I must say, on top of that, I don't even know where those missions went. I got the gold edition. I have no clue where those bonus missions are, and I don't even think I've done them at all. And I've spent a lot of time in this game. So for this game specifically, it isn't a huge detriment because I even missed it. Overall, I strongly recommend Star Wars Outlaws, so much so that I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. Not a lot of money, mind you, so take it easy, but I will put money behind this. If you watch this video and you buy Star Wars Outlaws and play it for 10 hours, that's it, 10 hours, and you don't like it, I will reimburse you some of the cost that you paid for the game. Let's call it 15 bucks. So if you buy the game, play for 10 hours and genuinely don't like it, come back to this video, comment on it, DM me on Twitter, send me an email to my business email, whatever, and I will personally pay you back, every single person who does that, with proof of your playtime, because that's how much I want this game to be given a second chance. I feel like when people try, they deserve a chance, and the development team behind Star Wars Outlaws absolutely tried, and they made a great game. So please, give it a chance. Thanks for watching. Behave yourself.